Well, hello. Welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. Happy Mother's Day on May 8th, 2022. Unfortunately, my own mother is not having a good Mother's Day. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I am not a religious person. However, I'm not an atheist either. I count myself more in line as a spiritual person, but not in the sense that I believe in witchcraft or that I go out there and give a part of myself to nature, like bleed into the ground or anything like that. No, I call myself a spiritual person because there have been events that happen in my life that more or less forced me to believe that the universe, the creation, this world we live in, is way more than what it appears to be. There's way more out there that we, whether by science or religion, cannot explain. These experiences range from the really scary ones, and some of them were just, well, maybe coincidental, but when they happen to you enough times, and when you look at how uncanny some of these experiences were, well, let me just say, it's almost enough to make a believer out of you, at least out of me. I mean, what about the one time when my parents was about to board a flight, and then they had their documentation, sitting out on the bed while they were packing, and the family dog happened to get into the room and tore out their passport and everything. My dad was furious at the time, beat the heck out of that dog, threatened to have him cooked for dinner. And the next day, on the evening news, we heard that the flight they were supposed to be on crashed. There was no survivor. If the dog did not chew up the documentation, well, me and my brothers and sister would have grown up very differently. I can tell you that. Now, how about this one? Me and my younger brother and sister, we were in Las Vegas. This was when we were a teenager. And my younger brother, out of nowhere, pretty much predicted Princess Diana's death, either at the time when that was happening or shortly before it actually happened. And I say predict because we did not hear the news about Princess Diana until later that night. At the time of my younger brother's prediction, to everybody's knowledge, especially at this part of the world, Princess Diana was still fine. And what's even more uncanny was most of us didn't even think that my younger brother knew who Princess Diana was. It's not a name that he would mention, even in passing. It's not a familiar name to him. But that morning, when we were in Las Vegas, when frustrated after being rushed by my sister, who wanted us to get ready, we need to get going, we have things to do. My younger brother suddenly bursted out with the phrase, "What the hell is the bloody hurry? Did Princess Diana die or something?" Yeah. And I remember at the time I was like, "Whoa, dude. Princess Diana, you know who she is? And my younger brother was, well, kind of, but I don't really know why I just said that. It just came out. At the time, we just laughed it out, but that night when we saw the news of her death, it sent chills down my spine of how uncanny this was. Now, if you think the two examples I've given you were chilling coincidence, then let me hit you with a doozy. An event that just happened this week that have connection to two other separate events in my life. The three events coincide in the end in a tragic story that really make you think. Maybe karma, maybe uh, uh, spiritual stuff, maybe premonition, maybe prophecy, maybe all that is true. And I swear, although everyone does, but I swear everything I tell you today, true story, happened to myself. I didn't hear it uh, from anybody else. Well, other than the second event I'm going to mention. I'm going to mention the three events separately, so it's a little bit more uh, comprehensive telling of how things tie together. Those of you who have been on my Facebook page, as friends with me on Facebook, you already know the story. But for those of you who have not heard it, just be warned that there's some disturbing stuff. Maybe triggers, maybe emotional for some people. So if you're bothered by uh, tellings of suffering and death and animal in pain, then you may want to skip this video. Event number one, Tuesday. That's this past Tuesday. So I'm guessing the date would have been uh, May 2nd or May 3rd. Yeah, May 3rd. So Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. I woke up in the middle of the night in cold sweat. The dream I just had was such a what the fuck dream. Sorry about swearing, but only that can really convey that. The dream I just had was so disturbing and such a what the fuck dream that I immediately chucked it out of my mind, and I just chucked it up as some really weird dream that I had just because I ate too much before I went to bed. I don't know if I did or not, if I did eat a big meal, but at the time I just said to myself, oh God, that's such a weird, messed up dream. I must have eaten too much. In my dream, I stood on the landing on top of a long flight of stairs. To my right, a long dark hallway led away from me. To my back was a wall with a lot of closed doors. And right in front of me was the banister, the railing. And over the railing, I looked down and I saw that the floor was far, far way down. It felt like I was at least 3 stories or 4 stories up. And just looking down over that banister made me feel queasy. And I remember tightening my hands on the banister. Yeah, I don't deal with height very well, even in my dreams, it seems. To my right, from somewhere down the hallway, I saw my brother coming down the hallway toward me. He was very angry. He was cursing and swearing and waving his fist in the air, and he was coming fast. He was coming very aggressively, and I knew instinctually he was going to try to hit me. I said to him, I said, do not attack me. One of us will get hurt. He ignored me and kept on coming, and just as he got near me, he lunged. He came in hard and fast. Like I said, to the left of me was a long flight of stairs, and in front of me was a banister with a like 3 or 4 stories drop. I had nowhere to go really. So when he lunged at me, I did the only thing I could. I leaned back towards the wall away from the banister, and due to some weird dream, nightmarish mechanic, my brother tripped over my leg and then tipped over the banister. I mean, this was something that's really weird in the dream. Even when I was in the dream, I remember thinking, whoa, what the hell? Because I expected him to trip over my leg and fall down the stairs. I didn't expect him to go straight over the banister. The last thing I remembered before I woke up was looking down over the banister at the floor far, far below. There were blood everywhere, and my brother laying there. I didn't even know if he was dead or alive, but I remember the last thought in my head. The last thought was, oh my god, he is still twitching. And then I woke up. Event 2. The second event happened almost immediately after, or at least close enough. It happened on May 4th, Wednesday, so the day after my weird dream. 11 p.m. I got a call from my mom, and she was in such a state that I've never seen her in. I have seen my mom cry before, but I have never heard my mom cry like the way she cried on Wednesday night. She cried like her heart was torn straight out of her chest. She cried like the world was ending. She cried like there was no hope in the world. And through her sobs, I pieced together what happened. My parents lived on the 13th floor of a building, a very old building in Taiwan. And from my understanding is the stairs that if you don't want to take the elevator, if you decide to climb the stairs, because you're some kind of lunatic, the stairs from the 13th floor to the first floor, it's one of those old stairwells, uh, just winding up and up and up, with a like a free fall, almost like free drop in the middle. Now, of course, there's the railing for you to hang on to, so normal people wouldn't have problem with that. But from my understanding of what transpired, my mom's favorite dog, the dog that she's had for 20 years, the dog is deaf and blind, and somehow the dog squeezed between the bar of the railing of the stairs and fell from the 13th floor down to the 8th floor. I remember my mom's own words when she told me this part. It took her over an hour to finally find the dog, and she said, Johnny, my God, he was still twitching when I found him. He was still twitching. Now this would have been coincidental enough. However, As I listened to her tale of horror and tragedy and grief, I remember another moment from when I went back to visit my parents back in 2012. When I met my mom's dog for the first time, I remember my mom holding the dog up to me, and she said, whether to me or to the dog, I'm not sure. But she said, "Hey, meet your brother. This is your brother." Event 3. Let me take you back to 1991 when I was a small child. I was 10 years old. That year, something horrible happened to me. The turtle that I had for the last 3 years, my beloved turtle I named Ben, died. And not because of any natural causes either. I had Ben in a large bucket, like one of those baby bathtub thing. I remember this was a beautiful sunny day. We lived on the eighth floor in the eighth floor apartment. Uh, so on a sunny day, I took Ben and in his giant tub out, and I put him out on the balcony in his tub so he could get some sunlight. And turtles love that. A few hours later, I went out to check on Ben. He was nowhere to be found. All I found was a big ornamental rock in his tub. Me and my brothers searched everywhere. We went through that. We went over that balcony. We went over the whole house looking for Ben. And it wasn't until then that I remember my younger brother said, "Could he have fallen down off the balcony?" We found Ben on the first floor. He has fell the entire way and dented in the roof of a car. What happened was when my mom saw that I had the turtle uh, tub out there on the balcony, she decided it would be nice to put a big rock in there for Ben to sit on. Little did she know that the turtle would step onto the rock, pull himself over the lip of the tub to get out of the tub that way, and then crawled and fell to his death. I was so heartbroken and so angry. And I remember, even to this day, my mom so uncaringly laughed at me and said, "It's just a stupid $50 turtle. I can buy you four new ones. Stop crying. Stop being a baby." And for the many, many years afterward, at family gatherings or when sitting with her friends, when she felt like she needed a joke, she would say, "Did you know? Can you believe that a tough guy like Johnny cried his eyes out because of a stupid freaking turtle?" I was so angry. I remember thinking this very hard in a way that only a grief-stricken person can really think. I sought with all my might towards the heaven. I thought to myself, I said in my mind, "I wish one day you will know what this feels like. I wish one day you will know what it's like to have your favorite pet fall to its death." Did I curse my mom and her dog unknowingly? Well, if you asked me that last week, I would say that's crazy. But now, I don't really know anymore.